The hour of 5 o'clock, having arrived, I'd like to call to order the regular board meeting for the Vallecitos Water District for September 6, 2023. Notice the public. I would like to announce that the members of the public may watch the meeting via computer or smart device by clicking on the watch live icon. However, they will not be able to participate in the meeting remotely. Members of the public may also listen to the meeting via their phone by dialing 888-788-0099 or 877-853-5274. When prompted, enter the meeting ID and passcode displayed on the district's website. Pledge of Allegiance. Joe McKenzie.
Thank you for the honor. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Roll call. Very good. One absent. Thank you. Adoption may entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor, please vote. Very good. I skipped over it. Do we have any additions to the agenda?
No, sir.
Very fine. Thank you so much. Let's see. Presentations.
There's nobody's.
Oh, public comments? No public
No
comments.
public comments.
Thank you. Now presentations.
Yeah, so we get to recognize a sister water district right next door. Vista Irrigation District is poised on the precipice of celebrating their 100th year of anniversary.
Wow.
They're having an event on, unless, I don't know if Joe, if you want to talk about that, but President Joe McKenzie is with us here today, and their general manager, Brad Hotchkiss, is back there as well. Maybe I can ask Joe to come on up if you want to say a few words. So while she walks up, Joe McKenzie has been with Vista Irrigation for over 30 years.
Whoa.
No way.
It'll be 31 years in December, I believe.
It feels like 100.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, I think I gave invitations to all of you for our 100th anniversary celebration this Saturday, 10 to 1, 1319 Engineer Road, just straight off of Sycamore. Easy peasy. Love to have you come. That's it. Thank you.
All right.
And if we can maybe get a picture, if the board
Yes,
would
let's get a
come
photo,
down and we can have a
'cause we did have a
proclamation.
proclamation.
And Brett, why don't you come up too and you can get in the picture?
Oh, you're not going to read the resolution, the whereases? Come on, Jim.
Yes,
You want to read it?
I will.
All right.
You have to understand, I've known Jim for over 30 years.
It's okay to give him a hard time then.
Rightfully so. Whereas on September 11th, 2023, the Vista Irrigation District will celebrate 100 years of providing reliable supply of high-quality water that meets the needs of its customers in an economically, environmentally responsible manner. Whereas an election was held on August 28, 1923, and 100% of the eligible voters participating, with the outcome of the election being 104 votes for and 4 against for the formation of the district. Whereas on September 11th, 1923, Vista Irrigation was created to provide water to the farmers and archers of the growing community of Vista. And whereas following the arrival of the first water from Lake Henshaw on February 27, 1926, crops of all kinds were planted, and the Vista area became known as the avocado capital of the world. And whereas on June 1946, the year I was born, the Vista Irrigation District purchased San Diego County Water District, which included 43,000 acre-feet, Warner Ranch, a former Spanish land grant, and encompassed Henshaw Dam and Lake Henshaw, securing a less expensive water supply for its customers. And whereas in the midst of a drought, Vista Irrigation District sought to secure the other sources of water and became a member of the San Diego County Water Authority in February of 1954, providing access to water from Colorado River to Northern California. And whereas the Vista Irrigation District had the foresight to secure a local water supply and imported water supply to draw upon during drought, ensuring that its water supply would never run dry. And whereas the dedicated efforts of the Board of Directors of the Vista Irrigation District and staff have played a major role in maintaining the quality of life and contributing to the economic growth in the community it serves, including the City of Vista, portions of Escondido, Oceanside, San Marcos, and unincorporated areas of San Diego County. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Vallecitos Water District Board of Directors recognizes and congratulates Vista Irrigation District on its 100 years of service.
Thank you. I do have one question of everyone. Did you catch the year that we were formed and the year that we first brought water down from Lake Henshaw? 3 years. We were formed in 23, and the first water came down from Lake Henshaw in 26. 3 years to build the canal, to build the flume, and have everything up and running. And it was about a little over $3 million at that time. Now we can't even get $3 million to stretch for the study of realignment of the flume. So,
Well, very good.
so amazing things. And if you haven't paid attention when you've gone to either the Rincon or the desert or out to Lake Henshaw, look to probably, the south, the opposite side that the casino is on, and look about the middle of that mountain, and that clear edge there, that's the Escondido Canal. And if you come to our open house, we have pictures of that canal being built. In some places, it was so narrow that they had to come in and just be able to use mules to pack the equipment in and the concrete. And every time I look at it, I'm going, in 100 years, that's still hanging on the side of the mountain. So it's what technology did back then, where we're at today.
Yeah.
Just increases time and money. So that's all.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Come on up.
Thank you.
Let's get a photo.
I want you in front of the Lord,
Oh, we want to have
Yeah.
that between us.
right? Exactly. You know, and there's probably a few people that have that between us, right? Some of our customers.
That's right.
That's true. Okay, this looks good. Okay, on three, get ready to smile and get ready to have your eyes open. 1, 2, 3. Another one. 1, 2, 3. And one more for good luck. 1, 2, 3. Got it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Jim. Thank you.
Thank you, and nice meeting you. I'll see you on Saturday. Thank you. Congratulations. Looking forward to your celebration. Very cool facts.
Yes.
Oh, you're welcome to stay, Joe. Oh, good. Very good, let's continue with the consent calendar. Anybody have
We have-
one
have-
more item, but yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Chris Robbins is going to give a water supply
Yes.
update.
Sorry.
Oh, help me.
There it is. Good evening, President Hernandez, board members. I'm here to do a quick update on the water supply conditions. The drought is now over, at least in part. We were in a level 2 drought condition, and we are now in a level 1 drought condition for the water year. Go ahead and take it to the next one. Thanks, James. Yeah, I got the assistant general manager here being, yeah, right? I guess not. It was there for a second. There's the precipitation map as of September 3rd, 2023. I think all of you remember how desperate and dry the precipitation maps were looking, you know, just a year ago. Just stark and distressing. And this is just from several days ago. So good news as far as precipitation throughout California. Northern Sierra 8 Station Index, one of the big important ones that we look at. You can see the current blue line there, 65.9, and this percent of average for this date is 125%. So well above the average, which is that light blue curve that you see there on the map. Not as great as some of the wettest years that we've had, but still just a vast improvement over where we were a year ago. Snow water content, the snow water content was registering well into July, but now that we're in September, it's actually reached 0. There's probably still some snow up in certain locations within the Sierras and the shady spots and on the dark side of the mountains, but where they've got the actual equipment, they're showing 0 at this point. But again, there's that blue line that you're looking for. If you look at the southern portion of the Sierras, just really tremendous totals down there. So it kind of gives you a feel for what happened throughout the Sierras. Reservoir storage, Oroville at 80%, San Luis at 86%, and then the massive Shasta at 77%. So, you know, not quite as high as it was a few months ago, but still all these figures are above their historical averages, which is great news. Colorado River status, you know, not nearly as positive as local upper basin precipitation to date, 117%, which is good. Lake Mead is 34% full, and Lake Powell is 38% full. Those are some good figures, but not great figures. I think Lake Mead gained about 13 inches recently. So that equals 27 billion gallons, but that was a release from upriver from Glen Canyon Dam. So more from that than from any of the local rains or anything like that. I think a lot of people had the idea that Hurricane Hillary was just going to fill up Lake Mead and Lake Powell, and it doesn't really work like that. Speaking of which, Tropical Storm Hillary, you know, we all got nervous about it, and we were standing on guard here, but not a lot happened locally. We got, you know, a little over 2 inches locally in August, which is pretty astronomical for what we usually get in August, but, you know, nothing really catastrophic locally. But there were bad things that happened. I think this is Rancho Mirage, and places flooded out and houses damaged, and you know, some of the folks obviously not having flood insurance because they don't expect that to happen. And so even though there's certain good things that happen with rain and precipitation, there's also the downside where it impacts people where they live. 3-month temperature outlook, above normal favored for the San Diego County area. The precipitation outlet equal chances, so you know, it could go either way. We're currently in the drought level 1 status. It's staff's recommendation that we remain in the level 1 drought watch status, which is voluntary. And I will bring another water supply update in December, and we can revisit this subject. Any questions?
Very good. Thank you, sir. All right, now let's move on to the consent item. Any items that want to be pulled from the consent calendar? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar.
So moved.
And a second?
Second?
Very good. Please vote. Passes unanimously. Moving on, action items. Item 2.1, consider repealing ordinance 180 and adopting a new reimbursement agreement policy.
Yeah, so we're looking at a new reimbursement agreement policy, and Elizabeth Lopez is going to walk us through this item.
All right.
Getting there.
No pressure. Can we play the Jeopardy music?
You could hum it, I'm sure.
I'm good, thanks.
Yeah, I just can't see it on the monitor. Yeah, that's my question. Okay. Sorry about that. Good evening, President Hernandez and fellow board members. I'm here this evening to request board consideration to approve repealing Ordinance 180 and adopting a new reimbursement agreement policy. These proposed policy changes were presented to P3 Committee on August 7th with committee support to bring this item forward to the board for consideration. Ordinance 180 was approved by the board in 2013. Since this reimbursement agreement policy is a policy that's not updated often, we thought we'd kind of walk you through the changes with a brief summary of the proposed changes. So Ordinance 180 establishes the policy for facilities reimbursement agreements. There's two types of agreements. The first type of agreement is referenced as a facilities reimbursement agreement. This is for construction of new facilities which benefit other property owners. Applicants are reimbursed by other benefiting property owners when they connect to the facilities installed. So for example, if a developer extends a sewer main extension to serve their proposed development and that new sewer is getting installed fronting other properties, those would be the benefiting properties. When they connect in the future to that new sewer main, the district collects a reimbursement from that property owner and we provide it to the applicant that installed that sewer main. The second type of agreement is a facilities reimbursement agreement for oversized facilities. This type of agreement is for when an applicant is required to construct oversized facilities in accordance with the district's master plan, which provide additional capacity above what is required to serve the proposed development. The applicant who builds those facilities is partially reimbursed by the district after construction is complete and final acceptance is approved by the board. An example of this type of agreement would be if a new development needed a 12-inch water main, but our master plan identifies the need for a 16-inch water main for ultimate development. There would be a partial reimbursement from the district to the developer to upsize that water from 12 to 16 inch so that we're not replacing a newly installed water main in the future. Reimbursement from the district for these types of agreements comes from a capital budget. So reimbursement agreements, they don't occur frequently. Staff currently working on them and recently working on them are new to reimbursement agreements. So as we've been reading Ordinance 180, we found some items that just needed better clarification for the customers and for our own staff. So that's the purpose of our request tonight. It's just staff changes and clarifications we would like to make. Your board packet contains all the proposed changes on existing 180. They're shown as red lines, so that was provided in the board packet. Aside from minor language edits to the existing ordinance, there was really four major or fairly substantial changes to the ordinance. The first change was to Section 1, general purpose of the reimbursement agreement policy. And we just clarified the difference between the two types of agreements that we discussed on the previous slide. We just felt like better clarification was needed to clarify that better. The second fairly substantial change made is to Section 3.6. This section is a board approval section in reference to the facilities reimbursement agreement, first type of agreement we talked about. We added clarification that the public notice in this section of the agreement is sent to benefiting property owners prior to board approval of the applicant's construction agreement for construction of the facilities they're installing, which are eligible for reimbursement. We also clarified that that public notice provides the estimated reimbursement amount The final reimbursement amount is determined when the board actually approves the reimbursement agreement, which comes after construction is complete and after final acceptance. We bring back another item to the board for approval of that actual reimbursement agreement. So this section is just clarifying that it's a preliminary estimate, and it goes to the benefiting property owners. Third fairly substantial change is the term of the agreement, specific only to the facilities reimbursement agreement. This section of the ordinance includes an escalator for calculating the reimbursement agreement, the reimbursements that we collect from benefiting properties, and it's adjusted annually for inflation based on the Engineering News Record Index, or the ENR more commonly. The ENR represents the cost to build facilities today. So over the 20-year term of this type of reimbursement agreement, labor and materials can vary widely over that time frame, resulting in high fluctuations of the reimbursement that is owed. The consumer price index follows inflation more accurately, which should keep the past and present dollars more equivalent. So staff feels like that's a more appropriate index to follow. So we're proposing to change the escalation index from ENR to CPI. And the last substantial change we made, we added sections 8 through 10, which is specific to facilities reimbursement agreements for oversized facilities. And we added these sections just to clarify the process for the agreement for oversized facilities. The existing process that's included in Ordinance 180 was more appropriate to the facilities reimbursement agreement collected from benefiting property owners that we provide to the applicant. So we just wanted to clarify it's a different process for this other type of agreement. So with that, staff recommends repealing Ordinance 180 and adopting a new reimbursement agreement policy. And if you have any questions on the changes proposed included in your board pack, I'm happy to answer questions.
And I would add real quickly, so this new policy would not affect any existing agreements. If there's an existing agreement in place, this doesn't retrospectively change that, just for prospectively for new agreements.
Very good. Do we have any questions from the board?
Just a clarification. I'm curious as to why you focused on ordinance 180. Has there been an issue in the past with reimbursement?
No
customers?
known issues, just with new staff coming into, or staff new to working on these types of agreements, there's been questions. So as we've been reading through the ordinance, we've just found things that could be clarified better. So we just took it upon ourselves to make it more clear and bring it back to you for consideration, so it should help our customers.
Oh, okay. So more so for staff, it sounds like.
Both customers and staff. Sometimes we get questions from customers when we send them the ordinance as we're working with developers on reimbursement agreements. They've had questions and we've looked at the policy, and there's just things that could be clarified better.
No, great job. Thank you.
You know, I'd like to add, Director Benner, just as part of our tactical plan initiative, we're always, one of the categories is continuous improvement. So we've kind of got a list of ordinances that we kind of have on our radar that we need to look at and see if we can make improvements, and this is one of them on that list.
And that's improved. Thank you.
Very good.
Welcome.
And with that, I'd entertain a motion to, one more question.
Thank you. Sorry for the delay there, and thank you for your presentation. Just want, for the public's point of view, it's important because the perception of this could be misconstrued sometimes, that it comes from ratepayer money when it does not. They're being reimbursed for money that would have been spent anyways, correct?
So for the first type of agreement, that reimbursement comes from property owners connecting to a pipeline that a developer installed. So we're just collecting reimbursement from that property owner, and then we're reimbursing the applicant or the developer that built it. So no district funds are associated with that type of reimbursement agreement. The second type of reimbursement agreement for oversized facilities does have a district reimbursement component, but it's for a capital project identified in our master plan. So that would have funding collected through capital facility fees that were intended to build that project. So we're just partially reimbursing the developer, which actually will save us money in the long run, because if a developer put in a 12-inch pipeline and we need a 16, and we come in with our own capital project to take out the new 12-inch and put a 16, that actually costs us more money.
Thank you, and I think that's super helpful, and we're talking about clarification here. I think you've clarified the legal point of it very well. I think, some form of a summary for the public could be helpful in this sort of ordinance that could be, again, misconstrued on where the funds are coming from. So something to consider, and as well, and that we're a very transparent organization here, somehow labeling it on the website to where it's easily accessible for everyone.
I'll work with Chris and we'll put something on the website.
Thank you. And again, thank you for your presentation.
Of course.
Do we have any other questions? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the recommendation.
I will give that motion.
And a second, please vote. And passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Moving on to item 2.2, construction contract award for Coronado Hill tank interior and exterior refurbishment and Richland 1 tank exterior reimbursement, refurbishment project.
Yeah, so the district has a lot of steel tanks, and one of our asset management objectives is to make sure that those are well maintained, and that this project falls within that, and Ryan Morgan's going to walk you through this project.
Thank you, General Manager Prum. Yeah. Just one moment.
Elizabeth broke it.
Stop share. Hold on. All right, we're up. I think. All right. Okay. Sorry about those technical difficulties. It's my pleasure to be here tonight to award the construction contract of Coronado Hills tank interior and exterior refurbishment and the Richland 1 tank exterior refurbishment project. Coronado Hills, as shown on your figure on the left, is a 2.5 million gallon steel reservoir which was built in 1981. It's located on Washingtonia Street in San Marcos. A 2002 inspection to the tank revealed exterior paint system and interior lighting system's full deterioration, which was last applied in 2004. It was in need of full replacement. This actually modified the scope of work at this time because the project was initially planned for only exterior painting and refurbishments. So we included the internal lining system, full interior and exterior refurbishment for Coronado Hills at this time. Richland 1 tank, shown on the right of your figure, is a 1.3 million gallon steel reservoir which was built in 1961 on Woodland Parkway in San Marcos. The same 2002 inspection revealed complete exterior only paint deterioration, and that was last coated in 1994. Interior lining systems from 2013 maintains good integrity. In the Richland 1 tank, only touch-ups to isolated internal patch repair locations are going to be required on this tank. Both tanks will receive equipment upgrades to meet current AWWA and Cal OSHA standards. Harper and Associates Engineering, or just Harper, was awarded 2 task orders for engineering design and bid phase services for both tanks in June of 2022. Working with Harper, staff chose to combine these 2 tank CIP projects into one advertised bid package, really to attract more contractors and encourage more competitive bidding. On August 28th, Harper provided 2 proposals for construction inspection services, totaling $127,505 for both projects. Harper performed the engineering design and bid phase services and will also provide the specialty inspection services during construction. The bid package was publicly advertised on July 14th, and a pre-bid meeting on August 3rd was held with 6 general contractors in attendance. Staff opened bids on August 24th from 7 contractors, with the bid results as shown on page 50 of the board packet. Unified Field Services Corporation was the apparent low bidder at $1.988 million. Staff and council have determined that Unified Field Services Corporation was the lowest responsive and responsible bidder. The total bid value of $1,987,829 is itemized between the 2 individual CIP projects, as shown on page 50 of your board packet. Staff will perform the project management and construction management and inspection services during construction. Both projects are identified in the fiscal year 23 and 24 and fiscal year 24-25 budgets with a total amount of $2,365,000. $900,000 of the total project budget is allocated in fiscal year 24-25 and will need to be reallocated to the current fiscal year to complete construction phase. The total estimated budget itemization for both projects is broken down on page 50 and 51 of the board packet. Between the two projects, there is a budgetary net deficit of $124,603 due to factors including market inflation and recent changes in prevailing wage inspection costs that were not available during original budget development. Funds are available, however, in the water replacement reserve to cover the additional costs. Staff recommends for the Coronado Hills tank interior and exterior refurbishment and Richland 1 tank exterior refurbishment project are as follows. First, to reallocate $900,000 from Coronado Hills tank interior and exterior tank refurbishment projects fiscal year 24-25 budget to the fiscal year 23-24 budget. Increase the total project budget by $124,603 to total $2,489,603. Authorize the general manager to execute a task order with Harper in the amount of $95,085 for construction phase inspection services for Coronado Hills tank interior and exterior refurbishment project. And lastly, authorize the general manager to execute a construction contract with United Field Services Corporation in the amount of $1,987,829 for the Coronado Hills tank interior and exterior refurbishment project and Richland 1 tank exterior refurbishment project. Sorry, that's a mouthful. Subject to the provisions of the contract. And if you have any questions, I can take those at this time.
Before we do, any public comments?
No, sir.
Very good. Any questions from the board? Yes.
I had a couple questions. How often is an internal condition assessment done on average?
The diver inspections are performed regularly. The district routinely performs about one tank refurbishment project every fiscal year. And we have a rotating list of over 20 tanks that we are currently refurbishing. And I believe we have approximately 5 remaining on the current list. And we're taking a close look at the future of tank refurbishment CIPs going out beyond that time. So they are performed regularly on an annual basis at our most in-need locations and tanks.
Yeah, I think it takes about 2 to 3 years between all the tanks for them to do all the diving
Cycle
assessments.
through
And
all
then there's an annual assessment. They look at the cathodic protection system of each tank. That's providing protection for the entire system. So that's done annually.
And a question on the construction process is obviously the Coronado Hills tank's gonna have to be taken out of service. So how's that accommodated for operationally?
We work with water operations to decommission and provide water through alternate sources so that all of the customers are still in water during construction. But both of these tanks will be fully taken offline. Even the exterior Richland 1 tank will still need some internal work to be done. So both tanks will be fully dewatered throughout the duration of this contract. It's possible that the contractor could take both tanks down at the same time as they serve different pressure zones. It's not a conflict in that way.
Thanks.
Yeah, the Coronado Hills tank is on the same HGL as Double Peak, and so we float those operationally. So when they take that off, they'll be using Double Peak.
Be operating off a double peak.
Correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I have a question. Duration of the construction?
That is a good question. We have, I believe it's just over 200 calendar days per tank. They have the contractor has the option to do them at the same time, essentially, if they want to have 2 crews in operation, and that construction duration holds true for each tank.
So it could be 272 times 2.
It could be, yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very good.
Yep.
All right. Any other questions? With that, I entertain a motion to.
Sorry, Eric has something.
Give one more. Keep doing this.
He always waits till the last minute.
My apologies. Are they just rebuilding it the exact same, like?
It's sandblasted down to the raw steel, white metal blast, and it's recoated, reapplied, so all the corrosion, all the rust, You'll see some of the roof rafters on the internal structure of the Richland 1 tank, the Coronado Hills tank. Some of those rafters will require replacement. We'll bring in new steel. But essentially, everything gets blasted down and removed, all the corrosion, all the old paint, and a brand-new coating and lining system is applied. And by the time it's done, it looks like a fresh paint job, essentially.
Got it, but it's like the same technology as 40 years ago, so we're buying another 40 years?
The technology does change and update. We have better coating and lining technology today than we did 40
Yeah, the
years ago.
epoxy coatings are different, and they're definitely,
45 years.
Yeah.
Got it.
yeah.
Okay, thank you, did bring up a question, because I was these are perfect places, I don't know, those fire reservoirs with the open tops for helicopters to go in, is that something we can incorporate in this area at all? I mean, is that a good time to do that?
So we are in the process of installing one up at
Oh, we are.
Palomar tank, it's called?
It's an open tank for,
Yeah, so
firefighting
it doesn't
purposes?
always hold water,
Right,
only during like
at the time
fire
of
season,
fire.
if there's an event, then we'll fill it. And then the snorkel from the helicopter will come, fill up
Okay.
as many times as they need to, and then we'll drain it when the event is
So
done.
that's
But-
at Palmer, so that's, okay.
Yeah,
I was
so
just
it's a
wondering.
cooperative project between us, the city of San Marcos, and CAL FIRE, I believe it is. So we're partially funding it. We're gonna have an event when we're getting close.
Well,
We're
that's
gonna
what I
have
was
like a
thinking, there'd be
ribbon
grant
cutting.
money to help us fund that, okay, well, I got you,
Yeah,
we're already
so I
doing it.
think Rainbow already does one of these, Rainbow Water District, Municipal Water District. So we're doing one, and we may be doing more if they're successful in the future.
Okay.
Any other
Somewhat
questions?
related.
Seeing none, entertain a motion.
I would
to-
add one thing.
Oh,
so-
my goodness gracious.
Sorry about that.
Is this a test?
Something about this side. So these types of projects, once they strip off all the coating, it's not uncommon to find more significant repairs need to be done. You may remember, it was a tank, I believe it was in San Alejo Hills area, same thing happened. We awarded a contract. Once they stripped things off, we found out that the base metal was more corroded than a visual observation would have indicated. So don't be surprised if during the project we come back with a change order if that post-inspection after they strip down the coating reveals worse conditions. But these are the types of projects, it's really hard to tell how bad a shape it's in until you remove the protective coating.
All right.
Jim, you got it.
Now, entertain a motion to approve the award of the
I'll
contract.
move staff's recommendation.
And a second?
Second.
Very good. Please vote. And it is unanimous. Very good. Item next is 2.3, Capital Improvement Program Annual Report.
All right, so while Ryan's here, he's going to give a presentation on the CIP update, which we do annually. So
All right.
Ryan, take it away.
I got it. Right? You good? No? Okay. That's it. Yes, okay. All right. Thank you, General Manager Pro again. Capital Facilities presents the fiscal year-end statistics, essentially, the work we do all year long in design and construction at the end of each fiscal year. So today I'm reporting on last fiscal year, 22-23, and the metrics that were provided throughout that time. Overall, fiscal year 22-23 had a capital facilities total budget of just under $30 million. And in that total, we had construction contracts totaling just over $12 million and just over $4 million in design contracts. At the time of July 1st, we had paid to date $10.5 million in construction contracts out of that total 12, and just over $3 million in the design contracts totaling over $4 million. You'll hear me talk in this presentation between design and construction quite a bit. So actual CIP construction spending on a monthly cash flow analysis, it's a bit sporadic. As you can see, we spent over $600,000 in some months. Some months we paid close to zero. So really depending on workload and where different projects and what phases of work different projects are out throughout the year is really dependent on that variability. The completed projects to date in capital facilities and their change order impact over fiscal 22-23, we completed 4 projects. We had additional projects that are currently ongoing still, but for the ones that we actually completed, this list of 4, including the Meadowlark retaining wall, supporting the Tesla batteries, the tertiary structural rehab and repairs at Meadowlark, Sage Canyon tank refurbishment, which was the big one, and then the sewer rehab and lining program of 2021. Our change order data is slightly skewed because we removed a substantial amount of work. As directors will remember, from the MRF tertiary structural rehab and repairs, we removed the lining and coating from the secondary effluent channel. Because of that, we're showing a 41% credit on that project, and that really skewed our change order percent to be under 10% of a credit, which is typically not typical. So just doing some simple math, if we assume that we had a 5% change order rate on MRF tertiary structural rehab and repairs, we would have a cumulative average of 4% change orders on the completed projects you see before you. So still on target if we were to assume that 5% metric. Looking at the whole, going back 10 years in time, we've performed 176 change orders on all of our contracts totaling over $48 million. The change orders total about $826,000, and that comes out to a 1.7% rate of change orders over that 10-year time. If we weren't so active in project management and active management in all of our projects, and really striving to keep that strategic initiative of 5% change orders or less on each job, we throw out the assumption if we were to inflate that change order rate from 1.7 to 15%, we would have realized a change order payout of about $7.3 million, and we would have lost about $6.5 million of that difference in that active management. So doing well, and then just the line graph you see is that 10-year period of time and the rates of our change order rates throughout that time. The 4 new design projects which were awarded in fiscal year 22-23 include the meters testing and maintenance building, the Coronado Hills tank and the Richland 1 tank, which we just presented on, and the Rock Springs valve replacement project. Some small contracts, although only totaling $213,000. Just want to remind the directors that in total of current ongoing work in design contracts, we're over $1.5 million. So we do have a lot going on, and we expect more design projects to come in during this current fiscal year. Of all the active CIP design projects that we realized and we saw and we worked on in 22-23, it was of these 7 projects. And in total, that $1.5 million mark, we've paid to date nearly $1 million of it, which is roughly about 63%. A lot of these projects are scheduled to be design completion of this calendar year or early in 2024. So this time next year, I should be able to come back and report a lot of progress on these design jobs as we move forward. And then historic CIP design spending. The only real item I kind of want to shed light on this graph is just the last 3-4 years, really building from fiscal year 19 to 20. We've just realized a steady increase in design, production, and capital. So we are firing on all cylinders, so to speak. And then the projects in construction in fiscal year 2023 include these 6. A lot of these are operational priorities, including the Sage Canyon tank refurbishment. Some of these projects, including the Sage Canyon tank and the MRF tertiary structural rehab and repairs, are reimbursed from debt proceeds. We completed the sewer lining and rehab 2021 program. Palos Vista motor starters upgrade is ongoing, and I have good news that we are approaching completion. It could be as early as this month where we're complete on that project. The retaining wall at Meadowlark, and lastly, the 16-inch emergency bypass and 12-inch fail-safe rehabilitation project, currently ongoing, and we're working towards completion in October, hopefully, of this year. And that just under $5 million of projects in construction 2022-23, and we expect this number will grow this current fiscal year. Historic annual budget versus actual spending. This is an interesting metric we've started to bring to the board every fiscal year the last couple years, and just basically how much of our budget is being utilized in projects. And basically the 5-year rolling average, we have about a 58% utilization of what we budget is actually spent. Past fiscal year, 22-23, we increased that utilization to 66%. So we're doing better. We budgeted almost 30 million, and we spent nearly 20 million of that. So that's a metric we are working to increase each year. And just a recap of some photos here, the Sage Canyon tank. You can see the before picture on the left upper and how it looks very deteriorated in its condition. And you can see the new exterior surfaces on the bottom left and the interior surfaces of the lining system on the right, how nice that looks in comparison to the corroded, rusted steel that we saw in the Richland and Coronado pictures. This was a 3.7 million gallon steel tank refurbishment, and it had a contract amount of about $1.5 million. We completed this this last February. Directors are very familiar with this project, the Failsafe Buena Reach Rehabilitation Project. We completed final design in April, and construction contract was just awarded in August, and we are moving forward, hopefully with completion of this project in the spring of 2024, around March timeframe. Another operational priority project for the district, the Montiel Lift Station and Force Main Replacement Project. Again, very fresh on director's mind. The project includes a complete overhaul and replacement of the existing Montiel Lift Station, along with replacement of the existing 6-inch diameter force main, lengthening of the force main. Work is actually ongoing right now. They're breaking ground in our easement between Costco and the 78 freeway, which you can see on the bottom left picture in that easement area. The Montiel lift station is shown on the bottom right picture, and then a shot from the Nordall Marketplace, which crews will be getting into in about a week or two's time. The Tres Amigos water line replacement was on consent today. It includes the replacement of 7,800 linear feet of steel pipeline, which was installed in the 50s and 60s, very thin wall steel. Encounters a lot of breaks. It's had, I believe, 28 breaks since 2008. That's a big problem for operations, and the new permanent easements have all been acquired to accommodate the alignment you see in yellow. This is an improved alignment that gets the pipeline in more accessible areas on access roadways, through Bonsall Farms, in roadways, not through strawberry fields, and just adjacent to existing parcel lines. We do expect final design will be complete in November, and we will go out to bid immediately with this project. One of the large ones at Meadowlark is the chlorine contact tank expansion. We are receiving grant funding for this project. The existing CCT expansion will increase the capacity at Meadowlark from 5 to 6.5 million gallons a day. We're moving into 90% design now, and we are expecting a final design right around the end of the calendar year. And then another operational priority project for the district is the 16-inch emergency bypass, the 12-inch fail-safe pipeline. We've completed the hardest parts of this project with the upstream and downstream tie-in connections. Now we're just performing the last of the relining and the CIPP lining. We do expect this project to be complete in the next month or two. And then the last big one, the land outfall parallel sewers section A. We are moving on this project. We advertised and selected land outfall program manager, project manager this last fiscal year, and I can report this project is up and running. It's off the ground. We're developing the RFP now. We hope to select a design consultant and award that by the end of this calendar year as well. And that is a snapshot of what Capital Facilities has done in the last fiscal year. And if there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer those now.
Do we have any questions?
Good job.
Very good.
Thank you.
All right, this is a note and file, and we will do just that. Action item 2.4, San Marcos Boys and Girls Club Annual Auction.
Yeah, so the Boys and Girls Club's annual auction is October 14th at 5 p.m. It's a great event. I've been in the past. Director Grosset asked at our last meeting to put an item on tonight's agenda to see if the board, if the district is interested in sponsoring. There's a variety of sponsorship opportunities. It could be as simple as paying for individual seats, and they're $200 per seat. You could buy a table, 10 people, $2,000, and there's a whole host of other sponsorship opportunities. So just want to see if the board's interested in participating. And in addition to paying for the sponsorship, the question about whether directors attending would get per diems or expenses needs to be addressed too. So with that, I'll turn it over, maybe Director Grosset or to you, President Hernandez.
Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, I just thank both the organization, the public, and the board for considering this opportunity. I think the Boys and Girls Club of San Marcos offers an outsized impact, very extraordinary in consideration of any other charity that's out there, to our community and ratepayers in general, and that our support of them is, in effect, support of our ratepayers. And you know, I think that I'm open to hearing ideas. I think that it's a signal of our support, and that's mainly what I'm interested in doing, and would be welcome to any other comments on the matter.
I actually was in the room when we formed the San Marcos Boys and Girls Club some many, many years ago, and have been the past president some years back. So it's a magnificent organization, well-run. The auction, the first auction we held was in the old Red Barn, which is now out on the, out there at Woodland Park, but it used to be out Mission Road. And it was a bake sale. I think we got about $10,000. I think last year they did 132,000 from around memory. So it's been a magnificent opportunity. We've had this on the agenda every year. I believe personally that is an opportunity for us as an organization to show our support and also to be out there in the community, let the community know that we support this organization. So I certainly am, we tried, I don't remember if it was a year or two ago, to get a table. We got a table and we couldn't fill it. So I think in the last years we've decided, okay, whoever wants to go will participate in the paying for the individual board member, not the spouse, but the individual board member, and without per diem or expense. And I would like to make that as a recommendation. Any other questions, support, whatever?
No, agree with everything said. My only concern is public perception of us spending ratepayer money on a sponsorship. I mean, for what reason? I agree. I love the Boys and Girls Club. It's a fabulous organization. You know, I've been to the auction in the past, sponsored myself a table from personally, but I like it. I'm just concerned about, again, public perception as far as spending ratepayer money on just an organization within the community, not to benefit water or customers. That's my only concern.
I think the perception is very good in that we are supportive of an organization in our community that's helping children of ratepayers. So, you know, I don't see a perception problem at all.
Yeah, and if I can add, we are trying to form a partnership with Boys and Girls Club. Chris has been in touch with their executive director. We're trying to get them to come do tours of our district facility, maybe take them to Meadowlark. So we're trying to form that, hopefully create a love for our industry in these young children, whether it's water or wastewater side. So I think that's a good nexus that would help maybe alleviate some of your concerns.
Yeah, I agree.
Very good. With that, I would make a motion that we approve any board members that want to go, but we are not providing per diem and/or expenses.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Very good. Let us vote. And it passes unanimously. All right.
And I would just add, if you want to attend, please let Ann or Anthony know, and then we will
Perfect. Yeah.
put an RSVP for you.
All right. Okay. On to reports. General Manager.
Yeah, just a couple, Just a couple items. One, Ryan mentioned one of them. So there's an active construction project, the Montiel Force Main. So if you're driving along the 78 right by that Costco there off of Nordall, you'll see construction crews. That's our contractor out there that's installing that part. The problematic part is going to be when they're in the parking lot, when they're working in the parking lot there. It's going to be a shallow excavation, so it won't be huge holes, but we'll do our best to have our contractor coordinate with the businesses in there to minimize the impacts. But that's good news that the contractor's out there working. Let's see, another item, and I hate to do this and put somebody on the spot, but we do have a new employee, and she's here with us. So Christina, if you could stand, please. So Christina Olson, she just joined us. Tuesday was her first day, so she works with Ryan in the engineering group. So let's give her a warm welcome. Thank you. Sorry to do that to you.
Christine, please step up to the podium.
Now I'm really sorry I did that to you.
Yeah, you're not gonna get off that easy. We're gonna let you off as an engineer, but that's the first thing. So where did you come from?
I'm just guessing how to utilize this equipment. I came from Santa Gita Water District over in Encinitas,
Ah, very good. And where'd you go to school?
Cal Poly Pomona. Go
My
Broncos!
alma mater. I knew we made a great choice. Very good choice. All right. Well, welcome aboard. Happy to have you with us. And I see now we're getting a balance of ladies and gentlemen here at the board meeting. So a little more on the ladies' side, and they'll take over. That's good. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
All right. Any other questions for the lovely lady?
Welcome.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. All right. Legal counsel.
One more thing I just want to add real quickly. So the good news keeps rolling. So one of the things we're required to do an annual report, a financial report. It's called the Annual Comprehensive Financial Report, and we just recently received an award from the Government Finance Officers Association of the United States and Canada. And they've awarded the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting to Vallecitos for that report ending in June 30th, 2022.
International.
International, yeah. So I want to give all the credit to Wes and his team. They do a great job
Very
with
good.
the
Yeah,
reporting and the
absolutely.
auditing and all that. So Wes, congratulations. It's always nice to get these recognitions from outside agencies, so,
Yeah, I would say the only problem, Wes, is that you have to get it every year.
yeah. The bar has been raised. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Oh, good.
We need to expand the wall back there.
Yes.
It'll be in the next
Great
CIP.
job, great job. Anything else, General Manager?
That's all I have.
Very
Good job,
good.
Wes.
Legal counsel.
Thank you. Just a brief update on the PFAS settlements. Both in the DuPont and 3M cases, the settlements have been approved and agencies will be receiving notices. And it's going to be an opt-out process on those settlements. So affected agencies will have until December to make a decision on opting out. And it may sound easier than it would be in consideration, so if you opt out, you're not going to be getting any money, and you'd preserve your claims against the involved companies for things that may arise in the future. If you stay in, you're going to get it'll be a release of claims against DuPont, 3M, and the others, and then if there's some liability downstream that comes out of it related to that, you wouldn't have any claims against them. So we'll be working with Glenn and his staff to come back to the board in a closed session to discuss those potential ramifications so you can make a decision before December.
Very good. Anything else?
Nothing else,
Very
President.
fine. County Water Authority.
Okay, County Water Authority had their regular August meeting on August 24th. A couple items of note: the board authorized the general manager to accept the first aqueduct treated water tunnels rehabilitation project as complete. Another major item, the board adopted a resolution authorizing the San Diego County Water Authority to enter into an agreement with the State of California Department of Water Resources to receive funds for the Lake Hodges Dam repair project. And the other item of note, the board approved the appointment of Dan Denham as the new permanent general manager, along with approving his employment contract. And that's all I have.
Very good. Encina Wastewater Authority, We had our meeting on August 23rd, and we had one action item, which was the roofing and HVAC improvement project Phase 2 construction award for $1,418,000, and that was approved unanimously. And that was the end of the board meeting. Standing committees. Engineering.
Yes, we had an engineering equipment committee meeting on August 22nd. We had many items, and we heard the capital projects program report that Ryan gave. We heard that at the committee. We heard a quarterly O&M report, an update on the helipod project that we mentioned earlier. We had a development services project update, an asset management plan project update, and water system total risk assessment AI pilot project update. There's your AI.
There we go. Nice. Very good. Directors' reports on meetings.
Okay, I guess I'm up again. I attended the CSDA annual conference in Monterey last week from August 28th to the 31st. I attended several sessions. There was a great opening keynote address by a gentleman named Seth Madison entitled The Heart of Leadership. Some sessions I attended: practicing emotional intelligence, considerations when implementing property-based fees, employee recruitment best practices, understanding board member liability, cybersecurity best management practices, and reserve policy development best practices. And after listening to all these, I decided our district's doing pretty well in most areas. So, listening to some of the horror stories I get from some of these very small districts, I think we're doing pretty well. So,
Very good.
that's it.
Any others? Very good. Other business meetings, the Water Reuse California Annual Conference in Indian Wells in November. Please let Anthony and Ann know if you're interested in going. And any other future comments, items? Seeing none, we're adjourned.
Thank you.